All right, welcome to the part 10. All right, well, beginning to the part 10. So, all right, this one was made from chapter 3 notes. So, it's about child development. So, this is my advanced child development teacher. That's her right there. And her husband. Um, Here's many pictures of her without a mask. Um, I never showed you of her, but this is my first time doing it. So, Chapter 3 Families Today. From yours truly, Mrs. Huber. All right. Essential question. All right. So, in what ways do family relationships affect children? They affect children with giving them hugs and cuddles and other things like that. What do you think? It obviously matches together for children to become responsible for their actions. That's what ways do family relationships, like many relationships, affect children to complete action. All right, healthy family development. What do you think? How would you define family? How does this definition compare to traditional definition of family? What do you think? You're not required to answer this question, but if you want to, if you're not required to answer this question, but if you want to, you can. If you don't want to answer a question, then I won't insist. I'm not going to insist at all. You can do whatever you want, but your teachers will probably teach you the steps that they have in common. Excuse me. What is a family? A family is an oldest known social group. A social group can be classified by types. Family dynamics can be helpful or unhelpful to a child's development. The family is the strongest and most lasting influence in a child's life. Identifying healthy families, keeping open avenues of communication. What is communication and what forms does it take in your family? Verbal messages. What is active listening? Body language. The sending of nonverbal messages through body movement. You have to listen to your body to get that attention from you so I can verify if you're looking at me the right way. All right, establishing clear but flexible rules and expectations. What are the rules in your house? Adults modeling family values and desired behaviors, fun humor easing the burden of family challenges, room for each family member to fulfill personal goals, mature and change. Okay, so my rules of my house would be no strangers allowed. I have actually 10 of them. All right, the first one is don't let strangers in the house. Um okay, so second, do not mess in the house. Third, do not break things. Fourth, do not disrespect families in his house. And five, do not expect me to look at your grades and when you want to. All right, six, do not do inappropriate songs or in my house or anything like that. You're not allowed to do it. We are very strict parents. All right, seven, do not or do not go outside without permission. All right, eighth is um do always come home at a certain time. And ninth, uh all right, so always be respectful to anyone in his house. And 10th, have fun. Right. The family life cycle, beginning stage of family to get to know one another and decide about children. Childbearing stage, birth children, and learn role in guiding children. Parenting stage. Focus on guiding and nurturing children. Treat children more as adults during adolescence. All right. Launching stage. Children starts to leave home. Parent-child relationships become more equal. Becomes a little equal and more equal than ever you thought. The mid-year stage. Parents may have more time for hobbies, may become grandparents, and focus on retirement. Yeah, when you reach when you like get older, when you're like 65 or 70 years old or something like that, you might retire early or something like that. Yeah, most people just retire early. Or most people retire for 45 years old or something like that. But most people retire for when they get older or something like that for 40s. I don't think you can do it for 40s, but some teachers do retire. But like Miss Sanders, for example, all right, Miss Sanders was my sophomore English teacher. She retired on February of 2020, and now she's a real estate, and that's why some 45-year-olds do that, but not all of them. Okay, so aging stage. Parents pursue new hobbies and enjoy family and friends. Health issues may limit activities. Aspects of culture, your thoughts, history of folklore, language and humor, names, methods of greeting, art and music, holiday celebrations, traditions and rituals, preferences about personal space and touching, foods, eating methods, and manners. Also, the 10th one is actually use your manners. Dress and body decorations, home furnishings, decorations. Multicultural families. A multicultural family includes members from two or more cultural groups. Challenging or challenges more like to experience bias. Children may feel they do not fit in anywhere or feel pressured to choose one culture over another. Advantages. Alright, so like same as like they may not feel fit when they're at home, when they're different, when they're like adopted or something like that, all that above. Exposure of children to a broader cultural view. Children may become bilingual at a young age. Children grow up to respect diversity and most have a strong sense of self. Societal influences on families. Families respond and adapt on soci- societal changes. Advancements in medicine extend the lifespan. Technological technological advancements change the norms of living. Electronic devices affect how many family members communicate with each other, use time for entertainment, and help complete tasks around the house. Family types. Nuclear families. Nuclear families, two parents and their biological child or children who live together. Challenges. Relatives do not live in a home to provide additional support. Parents who do not get along may expose children to stress. My mom mostly do that. My mom just mostly does this to me. I usually get stressed out when I don't know how to do something. Like tying my shoes, for example, I'm still learning on that process. Advantages: needs are more easily met through shared responsibilities. Children see spouses relate and share responsibilities. Single parent families. Single parent family, one adult and his or her child or children. Challenges: families may experience reduced resources such as income, time, and energy. Families may experience emotional concerns. Children may have greater independence. Relationship between children and a single parent is often very strong. Extended families. Extended family, parents or parents and their children and other relatives living together. Challenges many people living in one space can cause stress. Like my mom, for example, and my dad, because like even though it feels like I'm the only child in the house because my brother's not around. He's still at his girlfriend's house. Um, like, uh, so told my therapist about the atmosphere of Dylan moving to his girlfriend's house. He was enjoying it. Feels like his old self, kind of. But Dylan never wears jeans, unlike I do. I like it. Most people don't. Most people don't wear jeans. They don't. Okay, so needs of a group may outweigh the needs of any one individual. Advantages: family history is passed along. Caregiving and support can be provided within family. Like my mom. I live with my mom and dad, but I'm the only child in the house right now. But I'm not. I have one brother. I was gonna have a baby sister named Jalen, back in 2007, but she died because her lungs weren't working, so that's why she wasn't there. I would show you a picture of her, but I was watching her getting born, but something was wrong with her. Yeah, Jalen would be in a wheelchair. She would probably had autism or something like that as she acted so weird, or things that don't work right that can cause her. I was gonna have a sister, but she died. I feel bad for her. If I did have a sister, then I would definitely be annoyed right now. Okay, so even well, she's not here, so step families and blended families. Step families, one or both adults in a relationship have children for a previous relationship, living in a home. When a step family works together to merge in a cohes- co- cohesive family unit, it is called a blended family. Challenges: families face adjustment challenges. Advantages: families can have many good relationships. I'm probably gonna do 4 videos of this loom today. Um, I'm uploading a video right now, which is telling people jokes part 5. I just did it today. I'm doing more. I'm doing the part 6 tomorrow, and I'm doing the part 7 and part 8 in April. In April, something like that. April 10th for 19. I'll let you know when it's gonna be. So yeah. Families with adopted children. Families ad- families with adopted children formed when a child of one pair of parents legally because the child's of other parents. Challenges: parents must adjust the new rule quickly. Children may miss or want to know about their birth parents. Adopting families generally want to and love their children very much. You have to love your children very much as possible. If your people are stressing you out, then just give it a rest. Calm down. That's what I do. All right, families with adopted children. Buying or selling a child for an adoption is an illegal market adoption, which is against the law. Legal ways to adopt include adoption agency or independent adoption, closed adoption, identities of bare parents, and adopting family are not reviewed. Open adoption, communication between adopting family and bare parents. Foster families. I heard of that one before too. We can become foster pets. That's what I'm doing right now. I might show you a dog later on. I'm not sure when a dog's coming. I was gonna have a dog name, which is a boy. I forgot his name, but his name was Beamer. Um, he was like too strong to have a dog like this, so I rather just get a dog who is just a right size for my mom. She doesn't like it. Families in which adults provide temporary homes for children who cannot live in their birth parents. Because some birth parents are very drunk, or some birth parents are or they don't even take care of them at all. They abuse them. Very sad. Our challenges. Children may need counseling for the problems faced in their birth families. Children may grieve separation from birth parents. Children are often removed from their birth families for protection. Provide a stable, secure environment for children. Did you know a guardian is someone legally appointed to take responsibility for a child's in the death or extended absence of the birth parents? What would be advantages and challenges to living with a guardian? What do you think? Families with grandparents as head of household. Families with grandparents as head of household. Grandparents assume responsibilities of grandparents, may have trouble physically and financially caring for children. Grandparents may experience a grief or anxiety. Like me, for example, I was tested for anxiety. Grandparents typically have excellent parenting skills. Grandchildren respond positively to grandparents, like I do, for example. Right. That's it. Did you know grandparents often do not have a legal guardianship of their grandchildren? What challenges does this present to families with grandparents as a head of the household? Just let me know in the comments below. All right, next one we're going to be reading about blizzards by Emily and Dawson. Here are the blizzards around here in the snow. Sucks, isn't it? There's that polar bear. I actually forgot what that show was called. Let me know in the comments. Blizzard, a severe snowstorm with high winds and low visibility. Clicked advertising title. Okay, so this is the 72-hour snowfall forecast. A blizzard snowfall Monday p.m. Wednesday. This is what they come from. Precautions. All right, so this is warning. All right, so stock up food and water. Emergency medical bag. Know the signs of hypothermia. Watch out for frostbite. It can really hurt so bad. I'm not even kidding. Watch out for this. Geographical changes. Trees in plain sky. Causes too much carbon. Causes death into entire forests. Responses: stock up on de-icing salt. Make sure you have snow blower. Store water. Get a snow shovel. Common occurring places: blizzard are most likely to form in upper Midwest, the Great Plains, and on the Gulf Coast. Most deadliest: the Great Blizzard in 1888, the 2008 Af- Af- Afghanistan blizzard, the Carolyn death of March of 1719, the 1992 Iron Blizzard. Most recent, January 9th to 12th, 1975 is the most recent U.S. blizzard. Location: yes, blizzards are found in the U.S., but they aren't uncommon, but they still occur, like the Mount Shasta, California snowstorm in 1959. Personal accounts: it was January 31st, 1977, when this poor freezing man appeared on the cover of Time. The story inside, which detailed the effects of the United States, of what the publisher's letter called the bitterest cold spell in memory, Time magazine. Thanks for reading. Okay, so this is all about me, Master. So this was me by Tony Ed Burton. Uh, okay, so this is what people made so far. Um, okay, so you can go with this. This is not mine. This is not me. This is somebody else. Uh, Strengths, what I am good at. I'm good at football. Learns better through songs and short acronyms. Good at verbalizing what he's learned. Challenges, these are things that are sometimes hard for me. Math, and it is hard for me. Tools and strategies that help me learn. Teachers that help me read some books. These things are triggers for me. People that bully me. When I'm upset, I need to do this to calm down, play with my friends. My favorite foods, snacks, and activities after school, movies, music, and etc. All right, so the case of Kaylee Anthony. If you guys never heard of her before, so I'll show you. I'll show you that she's familiar. Victim Kaylee Anthony was born on August 9th of 2005 in Orlando, Florida, to her mom Kaylee. Suspect Casey Anthony was born on March 19th, 1986 in Warren, Ohio as a young girl. Cassie was described as bright and personable, but is now described as promiscuous. Promiscuous. How do you say it? How do you say it again? Promiscuous. Okay, thank you. But is now as described as promiscuous, as narcissistic, narcissistic, or so narcissistic, narcissistic. How do you say it again? How do you say it again? I'm sorry. I don't know how to say it. Narcissistic. All right, so promiscuous and narcissistic. Cassie got pregnant when she was 19, but lied to her parents about it until until she was farther along in her pregnancy. Then in 2005, her baby Kaylee was born. All right, I gotta check on something. Be right back. The disappearance. In June of 2008, Cassidy got into an argument with her mom, Sydney. She then took Kaylee and left the home. Over the course of the next few weeks, Sydney called Cassie several times, asking to talk to Kaylee. Each time Casey told her that the child was at the babysitter's. But in middle of July 2008, George and Sydney, Casey's mom and dad, got a call from a tow yard and saying that they had Cassie's car. When they went to check it out and they found Kaylee's toys in the car seat, they also smelled something described as a decomposing matter in the trunk. They went out to find Casey to question her and found her at their boyfriend's house, where she then told them that the babysitter Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez had kidnapped Kaylee on June 16th. Casey reported her missing on July 15th, 31 days after she vanished. Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, Zanny the Nanny, nicknamed Zanny the Nanny, she had never even heard, seen, talked to, or babysit Kaylee or Casey. They believe Casey was trying to pin the disappearance on Zenaida. Behavior of Casey. In the span of the 31 days that Kaylee was missing, Casey was spotted partying and getting a tattoo that reads Bella Vita, which means beautiful life in Italian. During this time, she was described as promiscuous and narcissistic. Arrests. Casey was arrested on July 16th of 2008 on charges of child neglect, interfering with investigation and lying to the investigators. Anthony posted a $500,000 bail but was arrested again only 8 days later on charges identity theft and for forging checks. On December 8th, 2008, a meta reader found a plastic bag with a human skull that was later confirmed to be Kaylee Anthony. That's it. The trial, that began on June of 2011 was broadcast on TV, television. The prosecutors were seeking the death penalty. The prosecution projected Casey as a promiscuous party girl who was not concerned for her missing daughter. They also found that there was a search for chloroform website on Casey's computer. Sorry about that. This was important because there was a chloroform found in the trunk of Casey's car. I'm not sure if you say chloroform. I don't know if it's how you say it, but all right. Sin even took responsibility from the search, saying it was her. Anthony's defense attorney was Jose Baez, and he was assisted by Chani Mason, who was working on pro bono for free. On July 5th, a jury found Casey not guilty on the first-degree murder, aggravated manslaughter, and aggravated child abuse. She was found guilty on the 4 counts of providing false information to law enforcement. She got 4 years in jail and a $4,000 fine. The aftermath and outrage after the trial brought bills and laws such as Kaylee's Law, which would make it a felony for a parent or legal guardian to not report a child missing. She now avoids going in public and lives with the private detective in Lid who led the investigation for her defense team, Patrick McKenna. Immigrants in the West by Clayton. All right, how did railroad companies recruit workers after a drop in labor due to the Civil War? The Chinese immigrants made the railroads, the U.S. advertised the railroads so people can come and work. Excuse me. Why the immigrants came to America? Because of crop failure, land and job shortages, the Chinese immigrants came over to the U.S. because of the gold rush. What did the immigrants do for a living? The Chinese were laborers for mining. The Chinese were also laborers for the railroads. Who recruited who 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 recruited Chinese immigrants after the Civil War, and what work did they do? The Chinese worked in gold mines, in agriculture jobs, factory work, and garment industry. That's what a person was doing right there. How was the Chinese treated? The Chinese endured an epidemic of violent racist attacks. They were forced out of their business, run out of town, and the Chinese were beaten. What was the Chinese Exclusion Act? What did it say, and why was it important? Building on the 1875 Page Act, which banned Chinese women from immigrating to the United States, the Chinese Exclusion Act was the first and remains the only law to have been implemented to grantees, or something like that, immigrants. What happened to the Chinese Exclusion Act in 1924? Did it change, and how? The Chinese Exclusion was the United States federal law that was signed by President Chester A. Arthur. The act did not include China, as they were already barred under the Chinese Exclusion Act. The act reduced the annual quota of any nationality from 3% to 2%. of a number of foreign-born persons such as nationality residing in the United States in 1890. Web results. Web results. Chinese immigration to the United States, American memory. Alright, so warm up. Who is the artist of this cartoon? The leaders of what two countries are depicted in the drawing? What is the cartoon attempting to get to people to do? Alright, Dr. Seuss, Nazu, Germany, in Japan. Appeasement in the start of WWII. Treaty of Versailles regulation. All right, so Germany had to accept blame for WWI, forced to pay over $30 billion in reparations. Germany lost territory, Alsace-Lorraine, the Polish corridor, the Saar, coalfields, and etc. Rhineland was demilitarized. Germany's armed forces was limited to 100,000 men and no submarines or, or airplanes. Germany had no say in the creation of a treaty of Versailles. It was the large written by the Big Three, the United States, France, and Great Britain. Was incredibly harsh, harsh, harsh of a yard. I use this slide to use the analogy of a kid in the grocery store screaming that she wants a sugary cereal. What does the parent do? Insist that the fruity cocoa fudgy donut are a healthy snack. Um, or fudgy donut O's are not a healthy breakfast, and they're not going to buy it or appease the child to avoid further contact or conflict or embarrassment and buy the cereal. I then have students come up with their own appeasement scenarios and share them. They also don't. They also share some really fun anecdotes of their little siblings. Adolf Hitler becomes Chancellor in Germany and wants Lebensraum or living space around his country. What will these world leaders choose to about Adolf Hitler's actions? Who knows? Hitler announced the expansion of the Wehrmacht to 600,000 members, 6 times the number permitted by the Treaty of Versailles. The Wehrmacht was Germany's armed forces for 1945 to 1946. It consisted of a Heer, the Kriegsmarine, Navy, and the Luftwaffe Air Force. Following Germany's defeat in the First World War, that is just all those words that has been limited army for 100,000 for national defense. Excuse me, charisma military. All right, so according to the Treaty of Versailles, Germany was forbidden to maintain or construct any fortification either on the left bank or of the Rhine River or on the right that has been drawn that has been written by those kind of things. Hitler claims Germany feels threatened and sends forces into a copy the Rhineland. This was from 1938. Looks pretty old, doesn't it? Hitler next wants to Entschluss or union with Austria. This was also forbidden by the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler next claims that his last territorial demand is the Sudetenland, a part of Czech, Czech, Czechoslovakia, where 3 million ethnic Germans lived. However, it was also home for 66% in Czechoslovakia is coal. 70% is in its iron and steel, and 70% of its electrical power. Munich Conference, September 1938, meeting with the leaders of France, England, and Italy. Czechoslovakia's leaders not permitted to attend. Germany was allowed to annex portions of Czechoslovakia, including the Sudetenland. All right, so I have met with Hitler, and he agrees to peace in our time if we give him to Sudetenland. Now we have peace, Neville Chamberlain. Ethnic Germans in the city of Sheb greeting Hitler with the Nazi salute after he crossed the border into a formerly Czechoslovak Sudetenland in 1938. Appeasement is like feeding a dragon hoping he will eat you at last. Winston Churchill. World War II officially begins with Germany's invasion of Poland in September 1939. German troops invade Poland. Nazis bomb Warsaw. This is also extra. Los Angeles Times, 9 a.m. edition. Chamberlain resigns. Churchill becomes the new British Prime Minister, in England and Germany are at war. American is isolationist and wants to avoid another deadly war. However, we must help our allies, Franklin Roosevelt. I use this slide to simply hint or briefly introduce how the U.S. will help England with the Lend-Lease Act after the war has begun. For this, in the following cartoons, I have students first talked with the shoulder partner about what they think the message of the cartoon is. Then I have students telling what the other things that can be described. Said the bird in the midst of a blitz. Up to now, they scored a very few hits. So I'll see on my canny, old Star Spangled Fanny. On if he sits, he sits. Stepping stones to glory. I was weak and run down. I had circles under my eyes. My tail dropped. I had a full case of appeasement. Then I learned about guts, that amazing remedy for all mankind's woes. Now I am taking it daily, and today I feel strong enough to punch Mr. Hitler right in the snoot. This Seuss cartoon is great to share, showing that many people hated appeasement, and it was happening and wanted America and its allies to stand up to Hitler. Yeah, Hitler can be pretty crazy sometimes. Ho hum, no chance of contagion. What a lucky thing we got separate beds. Blitzpox, Nazi fever, fascist fever, Hitler bits, Hitleritis, Hitler bits, or Stalinitis. Alright, so get your stretch bonnet here, relieves Hitler headache. Forget the terrible news you read. Your mind's at ease in an ostrich's head. Benny Ostrich Service Inc. We always were suckers for ridiculous hats. Alright, that's about it, and I'll see you guys on part 11.